100%, especially with zero weight cut.
Yeah.
Talk about that. That co-main event, Ciryl Gane taking on, or Ciryl Gane taking on Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira.
Yeah, but stop it right there, though, too, Kamaru. I even think that's wrong. I think there's so many contenders at light heavyweight for Pereira to go through. I just feel like there are still a lot of names to be taken out before there's a big matchup at light heavyweight. But I also get it.
There's one name.
Well, there's a lot, man. There's Oldberg, who he's never fought. Of course, he could beat him.
Yeah, Oldberg.
There's Hamzat Chimaev. If he defends that title at
Hamzat's not there yet. So right now, there's only one guy.
But it was something in the making where they're both kind of tweeting to each other or whatnot. And then two, I think even fighting for an interim title. I think if anything, and then just check this out. If you are going to fight for that third belt, it's got to be the undisputed belt, man. It takes a little bit of what being a triple champ is, and then he's also going up against a dude that was already papping up the undisputed champ. So, I can see where the odds are actually coming from. So I just feel like if Pereira was to stick around light heavyweight a little bit more, fight undisputed right away. No more interim, none of that. He just waits and he's granted that.
I'm trying to understand. So you're saying that him going, he should be granted that only if he sticks around light heavyweight a bit longer?
I would say a fight or two, yes.
But Henry Cejudo, you're asking Alex Pereira to hang around for what could be, for maybe Hamzat comes up or not. Maybe
and maybe not Hamzat. What I'm trying to tell you is you take your chances. You take your chance.
Gane on Poatan, bro. I think it'd be a fun fight. I think Gane shoots on Poatan, though. A lot of people think it's just gonna be kickboxing, but I think Gane might try and switch it up for him, like how Francis Ngannou did to Gane. Tripped him out, confused him a little,
I'm not counting Alex Pereira out here because Alex Pereira does have the power to really change things. And listen, he is definitely, your confidence is at his all-time high. Listen, no one can tell you anything about your abilities and what you can or can't do. Because if that was the case, then we felt this way when Alex Pereira said he wanted to go to light heavyweight. We felt this way. We don't know how he would do. Now he dominated that weight class. So I'm not going to feel that way about him going to heavyweight, especially when that heavyweight division right now is kind of struggling with the depth in the talent that they have. So I think this is a good thing for that heavyweight division to throw Alex Pereira in the mix there. Now you've got Tom Aspinall, now you've got Ciryl Gane, you've got Alex Pereira, not to mention you've got Waldo Acosta. So there's guys there. You still got Curtis Blades in there. There's guys there. So I get it. I like it. But listen, this card, I like it.
Fight, obviously, Alex Pereira going up to heavyweight is something that's been long discussed, and I guess the big thing is, like, is he going for history? Is he not? It's the interim belt. Like, if he wins this fight, are you going to consider him the first 3-division UFC champion, or does he have to get undisputed?
I would.
Yeah,
I would. I absolutely would.
Even though it's interim.
I mean, like, interim, like, yes, like, the difference is just putting a word in front of it. But it's like Ciryl Gane is still champion. Well, and that's another thing too, right? What we have to find out is Ciryl Gane championship level material. Like, skill wise, I do believe he is, but mentally and just emotionally and with his entire being, is he championship level material? And that's what we want to find out, because we've seen him lose against Francis, where he went in the fight but just made the silly mistake at the end, and then we saw him completely lay an egg against John Jones, and that's not championship level material, but he's seemed to have matured into it. Now, when he was fighting Tom Aspinall, he showed championship level material fighting, even though it was a little dirty. And that's another thing. Can he fight cleanly with championship level material behind him? And that's what I want to see from him. But because he hasn't really shown that in the past, again, that kind of...
They have to make do what they have. They would have loved to have Jones on there, but I hope Alex wins. That's crazy. At 3 times. Yeah. Gane's no joke, and Gane can dance around him. Gane's slick. to knock him out as well. But I think Alex can knock him out.
The fight world just exploded. Alex Pereira versus Ciryl Gane is actually happening for the interim heavyweight title, and nobody saw this coming. We're talking about two of the most devastating strikers on the planet, about to collide in what could be the most technically brilliant heavyweight fight in years. But here's what's really wild. This isn't just about who wins. This fight could completely reshape the entire heavyweight division. And some experts are warning that we might be watching the beginning of a massive problem that could leave fans frustrated for years to come.
That interim belt gets promoted to undisputed at some point. Now the other side of the coin, if you can't, let's just say Alex wins, right? And I'm not trying to pan Ciryl, but for the sake of the hypothetical that we're laying out here, let's say that Alex wins and you can't end up making the fight with Tom. Whether Tom's hurt or Tom's going down a dangerous road that I've seen before. It's a very dangerous road where I want to fight anybody. I can't believe this. You're the promotion. Bring me that guy. I deserve him. Bring me that son of a bitch. Make him do it. You got a contract with him. Lock us in the cage and let us do this.
Look, when Chael Sonnen starts sounding alarm bells about a fight, you need to pay attention. Sonnen is dropping some serious knowledge here, and it's honestly pretty concerning when you think about it. He's pointing out that if Pereira wins this interim title fight against Gane, but then the unification bout with Tom Aspinall falls through for any reason, whether it's injuries, contract disputes, promotional politics, or just plain old UFC chaos, we could end up in a situation where the interim belt becomes the real belt by default. And here's the kicker that nobody's talking about. The biggest fight everyone actually wants to see, that undisputed championship unification, could just keep getting pushed back indefinitely. Sonnen knows how this game works. He's seen it happen before. You get these interim titles that were supposed to be temporary solutions, and suddenly they become permanent problems. The logistics get messy, the politics get complicated, and fans end up getting screwed out of the fights they deserve to see.
Attitude has changed from outside forces that have grabbed a hold of him, convinced him of the potential wrongdoings, and convinced them of a potential greener pasture. This is not new. I have seen this a million times. I'm just sharing for you the beginning, scratching of the surface of that changing of your mind, and all of a sudden not put us in there and let us figure it out. I got a contract, he's got a contract, not this competitive and wonderful attitude. The beginning surfaces have been laid. And Alex Pereira doesn't have them. Alex Pereira is a competitor. And there is a scenario where Alex wins. There's a scenario where Ciryl wins.
Wait, it gets worse. Sonnen is also warning about something even more dangerous, how a fighter's mentality can change once they reach a certain level of success. He's talking about that pure warrior spirit that made Pereira so exciting in the first place, that willingness to fight anyone anywhere at any time. According to Sonnen, that mindset can gradually shift when outside influences start getting involved. Managers start whispering about better opportunities. Promoters start pushing different fights. Financial advisors start talking about maximizing earnings instead of maximizing excitement. And before you know it, that fearless competitor becomes just another chess piece in a complicated business game. Sonnen has watched this transformation happen countless times throughout his career. Fighters who used to accept any challenge suddenly become selective. Simple matchmaking turns into months of negotiations. And the fans, they're left waiting and wondering when they'll actually get the fights they want to see. The scary part is that even if Pereira maintains his fighting spirit, the heavyweight division could still end up in complete limbo if politics and business considerations take over.
To challenge Tom Aspinall for the undisputed.
Yeah, because now look. Now he's going out there two big dogs in order for him to become champion rather than just one. You know what I'm saying? You can make history off of one.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
You fight two to become the first three division champ. It changes, man, because I don't think he gets past Ciryl Gane. I think that weight is real. You know, and Ciryl Gane, he's a stick and move guy. Could he 100%. Anybody, in particular in that division. But nobody has really finished Ciryl Gane, bro. And his movements is very problematic. I just don't see any wrestling from him, which Pereira could have some. But the dude can thump, dude. And I will say this too. Pereira also does get hit tomorrow. Now, can you take a heavyweight's punch? Look at that little highlight that he was, a little practice that they had with that big Cuban. Cuban was bigger than him, heavier than him, dude, he was popping off on the dude that got cut by the UFC. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is size does matter, and that's a fucking.
Now here's where things get really interesting. Henry Cejudo is looking at this fight from a completely different angle, and he's raising some legitimate concerns about whether Pereira is biting off more than he can chew. Cejudo acknowledges that Pereira has that devastating knockout power that can end fights in an instant, but he's also pointing out a crucial vulnerability that could become a major problem at heavyweight. Pereira gets hit. He absorbs damage in his fights. And when you're dealing with heavyweight power, that margin for error becomes razor thin. Cejudo has been in there with elite competition across multiple weight classes, so he understands the physics involved here. At light heavyweight, Pereira can walk through shots from guys like Jamahal Hill or Jiří Procházka. But heavyweight, that's a completely different universe of power. Guys like Gane aren't just technical strikers, they're technical strikers who hit like freight trains. One clean shot that Pereira might have shrugged off at 205 pounds could put him to sleep at heavyweight. Cejudo is essentially asking whether Pereira's fighting style, which relies on his ability to eat shots to land his own, is sustainable against naturally bigger, stronger opponents who can potentially end the fight with a single exchange.
To agree with you there on that one, Henry, but make no mistake, like as far as sticking around at light heavyweight, the only guy that he would be sticking around for is Carlos Alberg. And just if he knocks off Alberg, there's absolutely no
which is a given. Which is a given is what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay. Yes, okay. So you can't say, oh, I'm gonna stick around for maybe Hamzat or anything like that. No, he's already, and plus he's getting older. You know, why do I want to stick around? I want to make history and I want to get paid, and plus I don't want to cut this weight anymore. So F that. I'm going up.
Yeah, but that's an entrance.
I'm going up to a weight class. I'm going up to a weight class that is struggling right now at the top 5. It's struggling at the top 5. Look at that. What's going on right now in that heavyweight division?
It's almost like the heavyweight division. It's almost like the heavyweight division became the new. It's like the new flyweight division. Like there's probably more buzz about the flyweights.
And get this, Kamaru Usman is actually encouraging Pereira to make this move, but for completely different reasons. Usman is looking at the bigger picture of Pereira's career and legacy. In Usman's view, there's really nothing left for Pereira to prove at light heavyweight. He's cleaned out the division. He's proven he's the king at 205 pounds. So why keep cutting weight and grinding through the same old challenges when you could be making history? Usman points out that the heavyweight division isn't exactly loaded with killers right now, which creates a unique window of opportunity for someone like Pereira. The competition at the top is manageable, the paydays are significantly bigger, and the chance to become the first 3-division UFC champion in history is right there for the taking. From a strategic standpoint, Usman argues that this is actually the perfect time for Pereira to make his move. He's not getting any younger, weight cuts don't get easier with age, and opportunities like this don't come around very often. Plus, let's be honest, the heavyweight spotlight is just different. The attention, the money, the legacy implications, everything is amplified when you're competing with the big boys.
Look at it this way too for Alex Pereira. At 185 pounds, dude, Khalil Rountree packed him up a little bit. Yeah, he did finish him, but Khalil Rountree got the hands on him. Israel Adesanya knocked him out. You know what I'm saying? Now you're talking about Francis Ngannou power? Now you're talking about a real big heavyweight? I mean, bro, things change, man. I even told this to John. That John wanted to submit Ciryl Gane. I'm like, bro, that's your biggest threat, man. Even ahead of Francis at that time when Francis was there. And he was just like, why? It's because this dude's agile, man. Like, he sticks to moves. He's not gonna. It's like playing cat and mouse with the heavyweight. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
but hold up. Cejudo isn't backing down from his concerns, and he's getting into the technical details of why this fight could be way more dangerous than people realize. He's pointing out that even at middleweight, guys like Khalil Rountree and Israel Adesanya were able to land clean shots on Pereira. And those aren't even considered the hardest hitters in their divisions. Now Pereira is stepping up to face the absolute elite of heavyweight striking, where guys like Francis Ngannou set power records and technical wizards like Gane combine devastating force with incredible movement and fight IQ. Cejudo is emphasizing that modern heavyweights aren't the plodding, one-dimensional fighters of the past. Gane specifically represents everything that could give Pereira problems: elite technique, superior movement, incredible cardio, and the kind of fight IQ that allows him to make adjustments mid-fight. This isn't just about whether Pereira can land his signature left hook. This is about whether he can solve a complex puzzle while dealing with the constant threat of getting knocked out by someone who hits harder than anyone he's ever faced. The margin for error is practically non-existent, and one mistake could end his heavyweight dreams before they really begin.
I mean, Ciryl Gane could fight back his lateral movements. Like, say, go back and watch that Tom fight. This is how he was able to puzzle Tom, because everybody comes here with Tom. You know what I'm saying? And finally, when somebody's just here with the movement, it's like, bro, he's not a stationary target no more. It's not just based on power, but techniques.
Here's what's fascinating about the champion's perspective on all this chaos. Tom Aspinall is keeping it refreshingly simple and professional throughout this entire situation. He's publicly stated that he's genuinely fine with either Pereira or Gane winning the interim title, which shows the confidence of a true champion who believes he can beat anyone. But Aspinall also has some unfinished business with Gane from their previous encounter that ended due to injury, so there's definitely some personal motivation there depending on how things play out. From Aspinall's perspective, the path forward is crystal clear regardless of who wins. If Pereira emerges victorious, they run the unification bout to determine the undisputed champion, then potentially revisit the Gane situation later. If Gane wins, they get to settle their unfinished business while also unifying the titles. Aspinall has revealed that he's just waiting for final medical clearance to return to full training intensity, and once he gets that green light from doctors, he plans to immediately notify the UFC so they can lock in a concrete fight date. No delays, no politics, just pure competition to determine who really rules the heavyweight division.